Hey there, Multiverse fans. Welcome to Multiverse Monitor. Today, we are discussing the possibility of MCU's Peter Parkers would join the Defenders with Daredevil. And hey, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, showrunner Jeff Trammell breaks down how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is finally tackling Peter Parker's origin story. While the MCU timeline got the introduction of Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War with Tom Holland, the franchise never dealt properly with how the web crawler became the Marvel icon. However, Phase 5 is changing that, but with a catch, by looking at Peter's life in an alternative reality. Set as 2025 Foot SC, first MCU project from Marvel Studios, the animated Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man explores what would have happened if Peter began his superhero journey with a very different mentor. Rather than having Tony Stark in his life, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man centers on Peter being taken under Norman Osborn's wings, while figuring out how to be a superhero in New York. The Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cast also features many new players from the Marvel canon that even Holland's Peter has yet to encounter in his films. Screen Rant interviewed Trammell earlier in January to break down the new adventures waiting for the MCU audience with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, as the show gets to stand apart from Earth 616. Trammell shared some of the most exciting elements of telling a new MCU Spider-Man story and giving the viewers a street-level story. Trammell also teases the arrival of Charlie Cox's Daredevil and whether or not Spider-Man may face other members of the Defenders in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Jeff Trammell on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, adding Peter Parker's MCU origin story as we get to see this as a parallel to what fans know of the main MCU. What was the most fun aspect for you as a storyteller to reimagine through Spider-Man's point of view? There's a lot of other references. Jeff Trammell says, I think it was just, honestly, that even his origin story is so different than we've normally seen. So getting to figure out, what's the origin for this Spider-Man? How do we lead to the spider bite? How do things change from that point on? Being able to pull from so many things, as well as the Homecoming films, like, okay, here's where this road goes. So when we divert, how does things go this way, has been really cool for me. And also getting to play with this character amongst this world, this new cast, as well as new versions of classic characters, has been really awesome. There are plenty of multiverse story opportunities. In Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, interviewer asked, since this show is coming out in the midst of the multiverse saga, is there room in this series for Peter to go through the multiverse concept at some point? Whether that means maybe meeting other spider people, a la Spider-Verse? Jeff Trammell says, I think there's room for pretty much anything in the series, depending on how long the show goes, hopefully, for a very long time. But I will say that, for me right now, the important thing is making sure that this is a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I love our kind of street-level aspect. We are primarily a New York-based show. There are a few instances where we kind of go a little out of New York that I won't spoil for readers or listeners. But the big thing is setting up this world, and I don't mind ranching out of it here and there. As the show goes on, if we were to encounter other spider people, that could be cool. But, for the show in itself, for me, I think our sweet spot is keeping a street-level, grounded Spider-Man. Interviewer asked, one of the characters I've been excited seeing through animation, because he's voicing him, of course, Daredevil. We get a fun taste of Charlie Cox getting to play an animated Daredevil, and we get to see him in a light that we haven't really seen him in before compared to Earth 616. What were some elements you were excited to explore with him from what the MCU fans already know of him? Jeff Trammell says, I think just leaning into that experience level, the fact that our Spider-Man is kind of starting out, and we have this Daredevil who's more experienced, a little more veteran, may have answers to questions that Peter hasn't even begun asking yet, is really fun to me. And feeling that almost big brother little brother between them. So yes, it's really fun. And then I think just getting to delve into a little more of the comedy in that character as well, like having him be a little more jokey, I think is super fun. But also seeing Peter test himself against someone like Daredevil, and it also meant a lot to me that we get to do, under Marvel Studios, the first kind of meeting of those two characters, not as Peter Parker and Matt Murdock, but as Spider-Man and Daredevil, is just a really cool opportunity that we were able to, hopefully, knock out of the park for the fans. Could the Defenders show up, in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Interviewer asked. Every time I heard Harlem, I was looking around going, Luke? Luke Cage? Hello? What are the chances that we may see Peter maybe encounter some of the other Defenders? Especially now because we have all the Netflix Marvel characters in the MCU, so how about we bring in the rest of them in animated? Is that possible? Jeff Trammell says, again, I would say nothing is impossible. I think it depends on where the story takes us. There's a lot of people around Peter right now, but I'm very interested in continuing to expand our world. So if a Luke or a Jessica Jones or someone else were to show up down the line, would I be against that? Absolutely not. I'm totally cool with that. Also, there's Avengers in our world. So who is to say can show up later too? Who knows? About your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming a hero, with a journey unlike we've ever seen, and a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots.